I can hear you.
Awesome. What's
Yeah.
up, man? What are you up to?
Oh no. I just had my boy take a bass lesson. He's learning the stand-up bass, and my band is growing.
Okay, cool, man. So,
That's awesome.
are you I wanted to, are you like a TikTok famous person? I seen that on TikTok just a little bit ago.
Uh, yeah, I'd say I am. I've got a pretty good following
I
there.
saw that.
I
That's
mean,
cool,
I'm
man.
like, there are different levels. I've got about 160 something thousand viewers there, so it's famous enough. But then I mean, a lot of them have millions.
I saw that. I was just scrolling through TikTok and you popped up on there. So I
You were
followed you
you were
already.
coming out
Yeah,
of you were coming up a lot. I saw your TikTok. I knew about you from the UFC, but you were coming up a lot with the whole Jake Paul thing with the boxing when you were calling him out. I was
uh,
sitting and watching those.
you know, there's two people that if I talk about, yeah, I just my TikToks go through the roof. It's John Jones being a cheat and Jake Paul sucking.
That's awesome, man.
So
I
I
was
guess
gonna
with the yeah, go ahead, Andrew. I know you wanted to ask him that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. That was one of the videos I saw you I guess just calling out John Jones for being a cheater.
He is a cheater. I mean, he's
Yeah.
very talented and all that. He's just had lot of injectables to help him get that talented.
I mean, I can't disagree. I mean, did you see that recent video, Dan Henderson? I guess they caught him leaving the Bellator event and they asked him about John Jones and he kind of said the same thing you just said.
Yeah, and it just I didn't see that video, but I'll look for it when we're done here. Yeah, and Hendo's a coach of mine, so he's probably told me personally more than once. Power to Jones. He's entertaining. Well, he used to be entertaining. He's kind of boring now, kind of. He used to do all that cool, fancy stuff when he was probably doping a little more than he is now. A little more confident in his judo, I guess it was. Uh, no, he's always been that. And if he's not injecting stuff, he's eye poking or downwards kneeing or elbowing, and he's just his entire career, he will never be the greatest of all time because he has spent too much of his career cheating.
I mean, you're not I can't disagree with you. So
Yeah, you'd be amazed how many people can. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about him. Yes, he's talented. Yes, he's had a lot of help. None of the rest of us have had.
So
what
do
was
you I guess like one of the things I was seeing some like me and Andrew were talking about it like or is he going to even make it to the event like when it comes down to the press week like is how is this going to unfold to him even making the event just from his previous record of just incidents we were like man if he makes it to the Cyril Gahn fight night that'll be a plus.
Most of his incidents happen after the fight.
That's
He
true.
usually makes it there okay. It's just that night he has a bad night.
you said remember the what was the story about him hiding under the octagon? Remember that at
Yeah,
Jackson Wink?
yeah. Never been confirmed, except it's been confirmed if you know the coaches. No, USADA showed up and he was hot. I mean, he would have pissed a hole in the cup. So he went and hit under the cage. It was like 8 hours or something. Uh, from what I've heard is because you're under the cage for that long, you're gonna have to pee. That he ended up peeing on the floor, and USADA went back to try and scrape it off the floor to get any sample.
I remember Uncle Chael was talking about that. I saw a video with him, so that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Uh, but, but anyway, so you trained at Team Quest and I guess
yeah.
okay. So how was
Yeah,
that?
I've been. I love Team Quest. It's still my fight gym. I've just left California because California's not a great state. So I'm out in Tennessee, real America, and I've got a wonderful team here that I train more jujitsu than anything else. And then when I have a fight coming up, I go back for 4 or 5 weeks to finish getting beat up by Hendo and all my friends out there.
That's awesome,
And that's
man.
Guardian MMA you're at now, right? The local
Yep,
gym
that's
in Tennessee.
Guardian MMA.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So what are your current plans? Like in term like do you plan on returning to fight in MMA or do you plan on I saw some about
Yeah,
bare knuckle boxing.
I'm not going out on loss record that I've had, even though I won most of those fights. I'll probably bare knuckle box. It's the one combat sport I've never done, and I like being able to say I've done everything. So I will likely bare knuckle box next, or bare knuckle kickbox, or bare knuckle MMA. Probably they pay more, but I will be back in an octagon or in a cage at some point doing something.
Do you think you would ever do power slap? That's something
No,
new.
nope. No, there's, and it's funny. So I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but if you want to piss me off, you have to slap me, and that just sends me to the edge immediately. It's not like I get slapped all that often, but the few times that it has happened with their friends, goofing around. Actually, my kid slapped me once, like he was 1 or something. Well, boom, and I hit him back, and like that. Uh, so no, I couldn't do that slap. It would just make me mad.
I've seen some like former tough guys and like former MMA guys do it, and I mean, it's not even fair. Like, it's not even fair. They're slapping the absolute soul out of these dudes.
You're just getting punched in the face. Yeah, you're just giving someone a free punch on you. They call it a slap, but I mean, it's ridiculous. Power to them for doing it. They're having a good time or not, or I couldn't imagine why anybody would want to do it. But
It reminds
I'll
me
watch
of
the
early
highlights
UFC.
I guess a little bit, but
Just with the
couldn't
rules and
see.
regulations not being really put in place yet, it's like kind of barbaric, and I guess that's why people love it. I personally don't like to watch it. I like to be seeing people defend themselves, but it just seems like there will probably be some rules and regulations coming down at some point in the next little bit.
Yeah, maybe. I hear it's not doing great in the ratings. Like I hear it's been tanking in the ratings. So maybe there won't be a season 2. Or maybe it won't be on TV, it'll just be on Fight Pass.
Because I don't remember who it was. Somebody leaked that they only get paid like $2,000 an event or something like that to get slapped like that. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, but if you win it, you're a UFC champion.
You there, Sam?
Yes, sir. Did you know? I said, yeah, but if you win their tournament, you're a UFC champion.
I watched 3 episodes so far, and I'm done watching. I thought it was horrible. I mean, it was not that good.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, there's no real technique to it. Maybe the commentators, they were to hire some like real funny comedians or something to commentate, maybe that would be it. Do you remember? So there used to be this show on, I think it was G4 TV, BMX. It was this Asian show that was dubbed over in American, and they just made fun of them the whole time, and it was hilarious. And the guys would run over rocks, or they would do like stupid obstacles you're not supposed to win, and they just get beat up doing it. The American dub over guys just made it wonderful. BMX, that might be it.
That might be. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's older. I mean, it's better than a decade old, but it was a couple seasons long.
I'll have to check that out for sure. How many? You live on a farm, don't you?
I call it a ranch, but yeah,
a ranch. Oh, that's cool, man. How many? What type of animals do you have on the ranch? And
so,
how many?
Counting my kids, I have 68 heartbeats I take care of every morning. And we've got horses and sheep, 3 new sheep here as in the last 2 weeks. We've got 3 new sheep, 2 old sheep, 5 goats, 2 horses, 30 chickens. We've got geese, 3 turkeys, ducks. We got a little bit of everything.
That's cool.
We're doing bees here in the spring. As soon as it warms up a little bit, we're gonna start doing bees.
Okay, cool, man.
Is that something now, like, did you grow up on a ranch, or did your wife, or is that just something you just kind of grew up and knew you were going to do one day?
I blame my wife entirely. I grew up on a lake with
okay.
Lakes were wonderful, but I've always wanted property a little bit. Now I've got 5-6 acres. And my wife said, well, we're doing everything. He said, okay, it sounds good to me.
There was another question I wanted to ask you. You fought Rashad Evans, is that correct? And
that is
won,
correct, sir.
You won that fight by decision.
I did. It was a good fight. I like bragging because Dan Henderson fought Rashad too, but Rashad beat him. I thought it was a bad decision that Rashad won, but Rashad beat him. And I got to beat Rashad, so I got to rub that in Hendo's face a little bit. I mean, sure, Hendo's fought for world titles and I haven't, but I still beat Rashad.
Cool, man. Do you still keep in contact with Shane Carwin? You were on because you were on his team.
Not as much as I would like to. Yeah. I think I talked to him once in the last year, just kind of I think I sent a text out. Or actually, my brother's name is Shane. I think I went to text Shane, my brother, and I ended up texting Shane Carwin instead. So I chatted with him once in the last year or two. He was a wonderful man. I really wish I would have kept in contact with him a little more. He was very, very kind gentleman.
What's he up to nowadays? I mean, is he still in the fighting
I couldn't
game?
tell you. No, I don't think he even coaches anybody. Maybe he does, but I don't think he does. He was an engineer. He always said he made more money engineering than he did fighting, with a lot less brain trauma in engineering. So I'm sure he's doing all right for himself. I'm sure he's working like he always did. And shoot, he was a UFC champion, so I'm sure he still signs his fair share of autographs.
Yeah, I mean, to this day, I mean, he's still one of my favorite fighters to ever do it. I mean, that was.
Oh, he was so much fun, and he was just such a specimen. I mean, just massive human being.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember. I guess obviously my favorite fight was the Brock Lesnar fight. So I still wish they stopped that in the first round, but
I tell everyone I think that's the best non-stoppage that UFC's ever had. If the guy could come back to win, it was a good thing not to stop it. But man, I could, like watching it, I couldn't believe they didn't stop it.
I know. I was like, oh, it's over. That's why it was over, but I guess not.
Yeah.
What, David? Do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I guess with the whole Ultimate Fighter thing, now they're on ESPN Plus, I kind of get in a hole with them, just watching them now, watching the older ones. But what was that like? I guess kind of fighting on reality TV. I mean, obviously you think a lot of Shane, but there's a lot of, I mean, behind closed doors things that I guess go on behind the camera. Would you say it was pretty realistic to what we were watching, or was it kind of split and cut up?
No, it was pretty realistic. And just so I'm the Let Me Bang Bro season. That's my season.
Oh yeah, I was literally talking about that guy. I was like, do you remember that guy? He's in bare knuckle now, I think.
No, and he's bare knuckle. He's hammering it up. No, he had a fairly successful bare knuckle career. No, the show was pretty realistic. Now that they force it in a way, like they stock the house with beer and liquor. You can get drunk at any point that you want. There's no TV, there's no girls, there's nobody other than the other 15 fighters that you're allowed to talk to. So they do everything they can to make you irritated, and they want the fights to happen in the house. But they are fairly realistic.
I got you. Yeah, I mean it seemed like when you watch reality TV, like you can kind of tell these days what's produced, but like, and obviously, every show is produced a little bit, but for the Ultimate Fighter, it looked a little more raw with the emotions and stuff. But I mean, I knew there was stuff that went on, but I could definitely tell like the drinking thing, like they would always open the cooler or refrigerator and it's just 40 beers right there. So
yeah, and it's every room of the house. They make sure at any point if you wanna get a drink, they'll give you a drink.
And they know what they're doing, yeah, with like weight cuts and stuff, alcohol. Somebody that avidly works out, I'll sometimes, drink a beer or two after a long run or something. I'm like, man, it'll hit you. So no telling what getting a couple fighters, as tough as that is, training, and then have free beer at your disposal.
Yeah, you need to drink the beer before you run. Get the carbs in before you run.
That's my arm day routine. Get the carbs in and hit arms, blow up a little bit.
Hey, so Sam, what's your stance on the UFC fighter pay? What do you think about that?
I think they pay incredibly well. I think they're very generous with it. Generous might not be the right word. They're very fair with it. They give us every opportunity to get paid more. They give us the opportunity to build a platform for ourselves to be worth more as an athlete. And then the pay has gone up dramatically, even from when I first started fighting. My first fight was for 8-8. And right now, the first fight for somebody's 12-12. That's up, 50%, which is incredible. My second contract, I went from, I think I was 12-12 or 16-16, and I jumped to over 30-30. And they've always paid fair. They've always given us every opportunity to say we will fight or we won't fight. And then they've spent, Lord knows they spent how much money on promoting us, the fighters. If you look at any other organization, they don't have half the budget to promote who their athletes are. I love Bellator. I couldn't tell you who their champions are right now. I couldn't tell you most of their roster because they don't spend the money that way. The UFC spends the money making sure we know who the fighters are, when they're fighting, how they're fighting, when they won, when they lost, how they won. And there's not an organization in the world that will give you a better opportunity to promote yourself than the UFC.
I got you. You think so? I mean, this might be kind of personal, but do you think Dana kind of treats everybody pretty fairly?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like everyone. He at any given time he's got 800 fighters he has to work with, or he has to work through. And so if you talk to him, he's all ears. He wants to hear about you. He wants to know about you. He wants to learn how to represent you a little better. And that's just the experience I've had with him. I think, but now over the 9 years I've been in the UFC, I think I've spoken with Dana 4 times, 5 times on any sort of timeline. So we don't get to speak that much, but I do think he represents fighters well, and I think he represents fighters' interests as well as the business side of things too.
David, you got anything to add to that?
No, obviously you did what, like 24 fights since 2014 or something like that in the UFC?
Yeah, that sounds about right. And that's with
That's crazy.
That's with COVID in it. That's when I've set the record for most fights in a year in the UFC year.
And what was your mindset, I guess, going through all that? Just you were open. You kind of seemed just like a pretty open, pretty cool guy, always down to the challenge from just talking to you. So what was kind of, did you just pull up, show up and fight? Is that what your kind of mindset was toward it?
I only get paid if I fight, so I'm going to fight as much as I can. And that's always been the way I do it. My goats got out, those rotten goats. So goats, they get out of everything. I have countless times come back inside.
Sam, we lost your audio. There we go. We can hear you.
There we go.
There we go.
The goats probably took the audio.
Sam, who is one guy that you wish you could have fought in your career?
I would have liked to fight Michael Bisping. And I know him a little bit. They came back in. Oh, my sheep are out too. Sorry, I'm watching my goats run back. Yeah, whatever it is.
You're good, man.
You're good.
Michael Bisping, and I like him. I think he's a great commentator. I've sparred with him a few times. He's a good guy. I think it would be a fun fight. I think he's definitely has the volume over me, but I think I hit a lot harder than he does. So I think that would have been a blast to be able to share the octagon with him.
I think too. I don't know. Just you saying his name, I think y'all would do well, like at a commentating standpoint, like you and him on a UFC event. Like if you ever got into commentating, I think you and him would be good at that too.
Yeah. Oh, I have so much fun every time I get to commentate, and it's fun watching. You have to remember to talk while you're watching the cool stuff happen. Hard part.
Yeah, Joe Rogan does a pretty good job at that. He kind of reacts, so that's what makes it great. Like, and they'll try to cut it off. When he says what he's not supposed to. That's always my favorite part. But
yeah.
Sam, who do you have in the Usman Leon 3 fight? Who you got winning that?
Yeah, Usman will win it. He should have. I mean, should have the wrong word, but he was winning, dominating the second fight, or their most recent fight. So he'll come back. I think he'll beat him fairly easily.
You think? And I guess on to the John Jones, Cyril Gane. Do you think Cyril Gane smokes him?
Yeah, I think Gane smokes him.
Really?
That was my post from yesterday on TikTok. I think he smokes him. Jones gets ahead. Jones does. His big advantage, and he's a talented fighter, blah, blah, blah. His big advantage, he has an 84-inch reach, and he's hard to get to. Gane has a large reach as well, and is a bigger human being in general. He will be able to touch Jones. And Jones, if he gets touched, he starts taking bad shots. He takes bad shots, he'll get touched more.
Well, what a fight to come back to. I mean, like it's what, 4 or 5 years. I think he's only done one fight with USADA in place, and then you fight Cyril Gahn coming back. I mean, it is. I mean, it should be in Cyril Gahn's favor if he just does what he does every fight. I mean, even the Francis fight, if he just shows up, you're right. He should be able to handle his business and maybe knock off some of that ring rust for John.
I think Jones
Yeah,
lost
and
the Reyes fight. That was my
What's that?
opinion. I think Jones lost the Reyes fight. His prior.
He did. He lost that Reyes fight, and I didn't used to think, but I rewatched, and I think he lost the Gustafson one fight too.
That's another one.
I guess zeroing off of that, did you get a chance to watch or rewatch that previous fight, Islam and Volk, this past weekend with that decision? Because I know that's kind of me and Andrew kind of talked about it, and we will rewatched it and thought Islam, but I didn't know if you had any thoughts or got to watch that fight yet.
I had Volk winning it. I watched it live. I watched it one other time. I've got Volk winning. I think he obviously won round 3 and 5, and then he obviously lost rounds 1 and 4. Round 2 was close. But Volk won most of it. It wasn't until the end of the round that Islam started doing a little bit more, hitting him. I think he rocked him at the end of round 2 and maybe got a takedown. But most of that damage in that round was Volk doing to Islam.
And I think that was like most of the talking that like the actual MMA community of like, I mean, it was very close between. It was basically because I felt like Islam won the first 2 rounds, and then I was like Volk won round 3. And I had Islam running around 4, and then it was obvious Volk won round 5. So I guess if there's one round, could have went anyway. So
I'm gonna have to get going, guys. I'm sorry about that. Someone just pulled up behind me, and I'm not sure who they are.
You're good.
Oh, you're good.
No worries. Well, I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry I can't stay longer. We'll do it again, and I'll give you the as long as you'd like.
Sounds good, man.
Sounds good, man.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Have a good one, man.